And that's going to be 1,500 words, 2,000 words?
No, it's going to be
1,000
between
lines?
800 and 1,200 probably.
And victim advocate, I'll know more tomorrow after I do the interview,
Okay.
what kind of story I got.
All right. What I think I'm going to ask you to do for that one is we can talk at the end of the day tomorrow. We may have to hold that for the following week because I really want to focus on this I-118 story.
Okay, the other big thing is the big conference at the Mansfield Center next week.
Joel will get that.
Oh,
That's
I really want to
university.
interview Saeed.
Well, maybe you can do a sidebar and interview Saeed for a sidebar. But
Okay.
I think we should
Because that doesn't really float my boat. I mean, the story with Saeed, I hear that and I'm like,
Yeah. Okay, good.
Oh no, Saeed is, you know.
yeah, I know he's big, but it's not something that's.
Okay, why don't you do-
Okay,
All right.
so how long should that be?
Short.
Short.
I really, really want you to focus on I-118.
Okay, yeah, it'll be my main
Well, I'll
focus.
talk with you.
Okay.
And you guys can coordinate.
Right, okay. I've got a good friend who's at the Mansfield Center. I can call her now and set up an interview with one of these people.
Okay.
And maybe work out something.
Okay, and I got a big press packet and stuff about them.
Okay, great.
Yes.
My car.
Okay, so so we got to kind of talk about a lot of things today. I mean,
Maybe we should ask Pat Williams something about what's happening. Maybe give us a scoop.
Maybe get inside scoop.
okay, I don't have like a dummy in front of us, but if we have,
Right.
So the upfront is basically going to be
The upfront's going to have to be
Mansfield
Mansfield Conference I-118.
and I-118, and then this other overview.
So you can do your interview tomorrow, but let's just have that for the following week because you don't have anything for the.
Yeah, I'll line up my other interviews for tomorrow too, for them.
The cover this week's gonna be Mockingbirds?
No, this week covers going to be money and politics. It's going to introduce the series. The series is going to run over 2 or 3 weeks, probably 2. This week we do money, politics, and I-118, pardon me. Next week we do mud burns, and possibly, probably, Pat, Simon, Steve.
Or do you want to do that week or the next week and have that be the cover?
Right.
I have tons of mud photos.
I don't know yet. And then, Margaret, for the following week, you can do convictions.
Okay, and then that following week, we're gonna do the big tax initiatives?
Yes. That's
Okay.
whatever the third or,
So, and then do we have anything else,
What,
sexy
fun?
for a news buy or anything like that? I mean,
Well, those things erupt. This week, we're set. We've got plenty for this week. And next week, we'll just see what breaks out. Unless, do you have something?
I'm sure city council, something will come
Yeah,
out of.
we haven't had a good city council story in a while.
Can't help it if they've had dull meeting.
I know.
okay, well, what I'd like to see, I just think we need a sexy story every week. We need something besides the city council, besides the municipal conference. I mean, those things are not sexy, they're important, but
They're passive.
and the other people are gonna get those. Those are nothing that we can claim as our own.
Well,
And
that's
unless we
fine. I
do-
mean, I'd be happy to do that, but I mean, looking at the schedule, and you've got me doing, I'm following Cy around.
Well,
So
so
that's
that's
a
not
big
until
time.
next week.
I can pull that down. We could do, if you can get this, we'll put it on 28, and we'll pull Pat and Simon and Steve down.
All right, we'll have to talk about an angle, or maybe just talk.
We don't need
to
an angle. This is news.
Well, we reported before, when we did the story.
We
in
did not
May.
report that they're saying outrageous statement.
Well, but we said that this guy entrapped me. This
Yeah, but-
guy was
but-
pestering me all the time.
Okay,
They
well,
say the same
If they're
thing.
claiming
Now they're
outrageous
making a
state
plea.
conduct, this is a different thing than just an anecdotal, remark.
And so you get to the lawyers, and the lawyers, I've talked to a couple of lawyers, and they say they won't talk to me.
Lawyers
You get them
never
off the
talk.
record.
Usually they won't talk to you off the record either.
One of
They
them
just-
asked if he could. I said, yeah.
Well, that's why I said usually. Sometimes
Because
they will.
Yeah, there's no such thing as an off-the-record statement, really.
Well,
And a
yeah,
lawyer
but then,
knows that.
yeah, but then you burn them, and then
Right.
maybe one lawyer in town isn't.
And we've never burned anybody yet,
Right.
so.
It's nice to come into a newspaper office and hear the words Pat clings to a week.
Hi there, Eric Cushman. Pleased to meet you. Great.
John Webb. Nice to meet you. Joel Reese.
Hi, Joel.
I'm Marga Lincoln.
See,
Charlie Lemon.
how you doing? And I fully get your newspaper, and I like it. But now I think I can fully understand your editorials, whereas before... Surroundings are important, don't they? Congress had a good first year. Republicans looked at Clinton's numbers in the polls, they were going up. We forget that Clinton was popular a year ago. We forget now, but it's true. Republicans said, do you know what this guy has in mind? In half a term, he wants to reform mining, campaign, ethics, healthcare, drinking water. He wants to do all these things. We'll be a minority party for the next 25 years if we've got to do that, they said. We've got to deny him any more successes. And then there was a great debate within the Republican Party, and Bob Dole and Newt Gingrich won. And that is, it'll work politically. Just don't give them any more successes. People won't blame Republicans, they'll blame the Congress, because Democrats control the Congress. And I think it worked. I think they made it work.
So you're saying that it was entirely the filibuster that did it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, sure.
Well, what about people like Warren?
And
What about-
holds. They have holds, and it was holds, too. There was a process called holds
Okay.
in the Senate. One senator can say, this bill can't come up. Now, you can take that hold off with some votes, but the problem is you have to take time out of the session to vote, to get the holds off. And
But what about the Democrats that abandoned Clinton? I mean, it seems like the least disciplined Democrat Congress in history also. I mean, what about guys like Sam Nunn and,
oh, yeah.
was it
Boll,
Warren?
the Boll Weevil Democrats, Dick Shelby and Sam Nunn and some others.
Why doesn't Clinton call those guys into his office and just tell them, look?
Democrats have no guts. Democrats have no guts.
Which one? Clinton?
No, Bill Clinton's actually a pretty gutsy guy. Otherwise, he wouldn't be spending all this time sitting on a hot stove called healthcare reform. You know, not since Harry Truman as the president had enough guts to take on healthcare reform. And Harry Truman got pasted. By the way, just kind of a historical thing here. Democrats, we're talking about maybe losing 24 seats in the House of Representatives. That's going to be a huge loss. You know what we lost under Harry Truman? 89 seats. It was catastrophic. We lost control of the House. With this guy who's now remembered as this outrageously popular president who everybody loved. Not back then they didn't. They were willing to throw him and the Democratic Congress out of office.
And that was because he was a reform...
The reform president who wanted healthcare
agenda.
reform. Healthcare reform is apparently poison, political poison. You think about Montana every day when you're away from Montana. You can't get it out of your mind. It's true, and it isn't just me or my wife or kid. The proof of it is, you know what our kids did when they got out of high school? Back to Montana. I mean, it was like bang, they were released and they came home instantly. Carol said to me, we raised them right, you know, because they left Maryland and bang, they were back here in a heartbeat. And so you think about being here all the time. I don't have plans to leave the Congress, come home. It's not easy to be away from Montana. So that's, and I come home every weekend. That's part of what brings me home. It's not only willing to work hard, it's selfishness, wanting to be here, you know.
Okay, it's good to see you. Thanks a lot for coming in.
Thanks for having me. See you all.
All right, thanks again, Mike.
See ya.
See you.
Hey,
Drive fast now.
I don't know.
Okay, feature meeting.
Is that happening right here?
I don't, should we wait for Michael, or is he not going to come, or?
There's already all these television programs.
That's Howard Muhammad Ali, so that has to be, you know, ABC Limelight Sports.
Yeah, because he's got the
Hogan's Heroes. Who's this?
That's that guy from Thunderheart.
Yeah.
I think he's on some late
This
night
is The
thing now.
Prisoner.
That's the prisoner.
Yeah.
That's the
Speed
speed
racer.
racer.
Oh, is that the woman who does the infomercials?
No, that's the aerobics queen.
Yeah, the one who lied about how fat she was.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Her brother came out and said that she wasn't that
She was
fat. So she's lying.
Bob Crane.
I don't really know anything about mountain biking. No, I wouldn't even know how to write about it. So I'm more into, I'd like to write something like a kind of a, not really like Royko, but something like that on just sports itself. So anything.
So,
anything that's
you wanna
happening
write
that
about
week. You know, in sports.
Professional sports.
Anything that's happening, just cool things that are happening in sports. Every week something happens. It doesn't have to be on one thing, it can be, but it can be on a bunch of things. I don't know, I just want the freedom to kind of just roam through the sports world and write about it.
Well, yeah, I would like you to do that, but you would
I would encourage you to broaden your professional capacity here. And when you say, I can't write about mountain biking, I bet you if you talk to 2 or 3 people who are interesting and cool people that you would like about mountain biking and then sat down to write, you'd be able to write a really good column about mountain biking.
You're right. I mean, I could, but I'm just telling you.
It would be harder.
Well, I want you to do it, because I want stuff about mountain biking in the paper, and I want stuff about exactly what you're talking about also. I'd like it to be 50-50.
Why don't you start with you just turn something in, you do what you want to do, it'll be kind of...
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask about what do you think of these guys play football down that I play with. They've been bugging me for years to do a story about, local football, just pick up football.
That's an awesome
It's a
story.
great story. Of course, that's cover material too. I mean, that's such a good story that...
But that's a great story.
Yeah.
And,
Motorhead.
Right.
Motorhead, I scratch up a Lazy Groove, Tarantino's movie opening this weekend.
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction?
Yeah.
So, what, or did you plan to do what did you plan to do this week? Anything?
Clean out my desk. I should take all week.
So while you're here,
Shop for a gold
maybe we
watch.
can get you to...
Clean up some copy along with my desk.
No, actually, I wasn't going to ask you to edit stuff.
I really like that twister board idea with money and politics. And plus we can use that small for the next, first in a 3-part series, and then use it the next 2 weeks. We can have that same, have a twister board with Mud, Burns, Pat, Cy, Steve,
And then what would we have like the Monopoly, like Mr. Fat Cat with a cigar and sticking out of his pocket actually spinning the
That'd
thing?
be great.
Or maybe we have somebody, the voters spinning it, and the guy, the fixer, be the guy
Yeah.
standing behind the board, ready to stop it wherever he wants it.
The fixer could be the guy in the middle, and the cigar could be the thing he's on.
All right. It could be something like that.
But the danger of it is that the cigar would be pointing in a certain direction. I'm not sure we want to have that.
I think we're right at Conrad Burns.
Right at Conrad Burns. I mean, that guy's spending so much money on this election. It's the talk of the nation, not just. Michael, what about? Have you got what stuff have you been wanting to get to, didn't get to that we ought to get to? Feature cover wise.
Vi Thompson.
Vi Thompson. Jeez. Can you do the interview before you go?
No.
Put it in the bag for us? No? Should Heather interview her?
No. I've never even watched her. I've never even seen her.
By the way.
I think we should get that guy going in and change.
Oh, really?
I've
Okay.
been by for years.
Okay. You
Good
have?
friend of my mom's.
Get out of here.
The 70s.
Oh, man. Oh, we're in.
Plus, she's got a thing for you. I watched her when you were up to bat at that softball game. There's a chemistry there.
Okay.
That'd be great cover. It'd be a great story. I didn't know you guys have a past together now.
And the future.
By the way.
By the way.
By the way.
Okay.
What else?
When's this Vi thing?
Down the road.
Down the road.
So is your phone valid?
Actually, let's schedule it for the week after the election.
Because no matter how close we have those registration marks, for some reason...
When he does it, they're perfect. Because look at the Rudy's ad. I would never have got those little circles in the eyeballs.
Right.
Or the green would have been like down here. He does it so perfect.
We pretty much are responsible for getting the paper together, in terms of taking the stories, paginating them, all the design that goes into the look of the different parts of the paper. And I mostly focus on the body part of the paper, the stories and the calendar, all the stuff that's written here, and Heather focuses more on the advertising.
Yes.
So we kind of oversee
So I'm
those different
responsible
parts of
for
it.
all the ads and that they're there and that everything's together with them, and Victor's responsible for all the making sure that the photos and all the whole news and features part of the paper come together.
And there's a lot of overlap there, we
Yeah.
come together and piecing together where stories go and where ads go, and then
what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah. And then once a week we get together and look at the paper after it comes out.
This is it.
And this is what we're doing now.
Talk about what's wrong and what's good and what we like.
What we want to change for next week. So, it has changed quite a bit since I've been doing the layout and the
You've
design.
done 2 complete redesigns.
Two,
haven't you?
yeah.
That's a
There was
huge
one time when the
project.
paper closed down for a few months, and when we came back, we had a very different look. And then just, how long ago was it? A few months ago.
When we had to downsize and match the ads to the.
Right, we started basing the size of the paper on the ad line and the percentage of ads in the paper.
Which is.
And we decided to tighten everything up and give it a tighter look so that we can fit more in the paper. Because we've been running, we're only at 24 now for a few months now. We've been running 24 pages instead of 32.
That's a huge jump in space.
And we still have
majority of the paper.
Yeah, we didn't lose much content in that, so it was a big redesign. And I always like to try and do something a little bit different, not a straight up, like a lot of weekly papers will put a headshot of someone on the cover or some...
Victor's really good at collage.
I like to use collage a lot, and something that has a little twist to it, something that looks a little different to catch people's attention.
As arts and entertainment editor, I'm basically responsible to know everything that's happening in Missoula each and every week. And as part of that responsibility, I have to go around and find out what's going on from the people in town who put on the events each week. It's my schmoozing part of the week, basically. And after being in the dungeon of the editing room in front of a computer all week, this is when I get out and show myself and practice talking. We're at the Crystal Theater. The Crystal, in addition to doing movies, there's a lot of plays, there's a lot of live performance work, concerts, and so they are one of the main arts and entertainment venues in town. So I try and talk to them once a week. Okay.
Okay.
They did a beautiful job on hardwood floors here.
Hey, Michael.
See ya.
Doing? All right, how you doing? Hey, Paul.
Hi, Jace.
This is my Freddy's mug.
Hey. Everybody gets a little bit
Quick,
here.
where's my crystal mug? So what are we doing?
I'm coming around to offer free publicity.
To us?
Sure.
Oh,
I love
very
it. Great.
good.
I do
We
that
like
every week.
that.
You seem surprised.
Hey, I liked our article in here. Thank you
good.
for the 1X.
And you got MPI this weekend, next weekend, right?
Right?
And anything else that's not on the calendar?
We've got the Night Owl Theater, 11:30. We all know about that.
Today, so we're gonna have to let somebody else know.
Your last day?
My last day.
Forever?
We'll have Michael Regan kick her.
Oh, bummer.
bummer.
We
Boston
enjoyed it so
Nixon
much.
and me in 1 year.
Well, who are we going to have to kick around? Do we
I
know?
don't know yet. I don't know.
And what are you doing?
I'm going to San Francisco.
This is total news to me.
Really?
I had no idea. Good. Well, I'm sorry you're going, but I'm glad that you're going to for you because that sounds like a really good thing. Lots of fun.
I'm probably glad I'm going for you too. I'm trying to.
Yeah, okay, that's your stuff.
Okay, so I guess I'll just talk to you guys next week.
Okay.
Okay.
See you.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Well,
Oh, that's... Oh, well.
Is that the typical of your schmoozing chores? That's the typical schmooze, yes. Right. I don't know. As I said, I've been locked up all week in a dungeon, so I get out and I kind of do my musical comedy thing. Put you in touch with the people out there? Yeah, just going around, you have to. Everybody sends press releases, or most of them do. However, to really know what's going on, you have to talk to people week in and week out, because things change. In Missoula, people are a little hesitant to promote themselves, so a lot of times they don't notify us. We have to go out and talk to them. And you just get a lot better sense of what's going on. Some more interesting stories if you're actually talking to people every day. Yeah, I used to watch a lot of television, and what I ended up doing is I reduced all of my sort of American culture to 1 hour a week of pro wrestling, because it was all covered there: politics, sociology, entertainment, and it was just sort of in this grand parodic blast of 1 hour pro wrestling a week, and I could kind of figure out everything that was going on in the world.
yeah, either that or Rush Limbaugh.
You have your choice there.
Rush, yeah, I'm waiting. They have yet to sort of have a Rush Limbaugh wrestling character.
That would be nice. You know, I was thinking if you can get Geraldo Rivera and Rush Limbaugh to run for president, you wouldn't have the problem with voter turnout that people do today.
Be a lot better ratings, yeah.
What we'll probably do is we're going to pass it around to the team now. John's going to edit the calendar. I'm going to work with him on that this week. Eric's going to edit the movie section for a little while, and I'm going to edit everything else in the back of the book for a while. And we are bringing in, we're trying out a whole bunch of different, not a whole bunch, 2 or 3 different writers to sort of help Joel, really. And probably, you know, there's several things that could happen. One of the things that could happen is Joel might end up editing the back of the book. Right now, that's not something he's ever done. Editing is not his strong point, but I don't know if he's interested in it even, but that's a possibility. There's a lot of possibilities, but the thing that we can't do that isn't an option is find somebody to fill my place, which is obviously going to make things a lot more difficult for everybody here, especially me, just because, you know, when it comes right down to it, I'm the one that's going to have to make sure that everything is turned on time and all that kind of stuff. But I am pretty confident that we're going to be able to pick it up. And I got to admit, I don't know what is wrong with me, you know, but whenever something like this happens, I'm kind of excited about the challenge. And I like change. I think change is a really good thing. And as Eric said, there are things that we wanted to change in the back of the book that we couldn't, and now we'll be able to. So I don't know if those things outweigh the pain that we're going to feel from Michael leaving, but at least they offset it somewhat. And this week will be very difficult because I'm also writing a cover story this week and getting ready for Kristen and I to go to California, and we have important business to deal with Martin and Hal today, so it's kind of a short week for me. But I'm geared up for it, and I worked all weekend, so you know, I think we're going to get things turned on time, Victor, better this week than last week.
Just on that note, I made a few copies of the production schedule, just because I know it's going to be a hard week, just to remind people where things are at.
So Eric, I didn't really mean to take the floor from you, I just wanted to go around.
Well, I think my whole point bringing this up is kind of similar, is just to kind of encourage like a gang mentality here, that we all kind of watch out for each other, and if we know that movies are late, or you know this, or something's going on, that we take it upon ourselves to come to be the idea people, because we do have, you know, that is some of our strengths too, and so we just have to kind of step that up a little bit. And, I guess the other thing that I want to talk about a little bit is just is the deadline thing, and that I guess we need to figure out exactly what we're doing Wednesday night and Thursday morning a little bit better, because it just had things that has to go out the door at 10 o'clock, and so specifically, I guess, for you to show up at 10 o'clock means it's impossible that it's going to go out the door at 10 o'clock. And that, I mean, we have said we're mailing the paper out, so that has to be how it goes. And that is obviously, you know, adding to the list of challenges or something here, because there's so much to do. And then, I guess the other thing that we're just working on doing a big presentation right now for the accountant, and meeting with the banker this afternoon, and I guess we'll see what develops that. I know there's a lot of other things that we talked about last week, but I think those are in everybody else's department, so I think I'll just turn it over to you, Johnny.
Okay, so it was the first week of mailing, and I don't know if everyone, did you get it? You have a ghost, huh? Yeah, I got mine on Friday. You did? Oh, but Shane across the street didn't get his at all. Not even on Saturday. I don't know. I assume he got it on Saturday. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna go talk to Bob today and find out why some people get on Friday or Saturday, and then my parents haven't even got one yet, so that means it'll be here today probably. So I'm gonna try to iron that one out. So I guess we'll still try to get it out. I mean, it's important to get it out, like you said, 10 a.m. Thursday until, you know, and hopefully we'll iron out the rest.
Kristen?
So we're increasing our rates 20%, as as of November 15th, and I put all that stuff. Actually, I taped it to a computer, but Heather was working this weekend, so I didn't know where to put it really. So it should be around there.
Okay, good.
It's the new city grade card, and then our same exact layout. And I wrote all the information out. Just you can just plug it in to whatever. And then we decided on our Christmas catalog, which is going to be a special insert instead of an ongoing couple pages. It's going to come out November 25th, 26th. It's going to be printed on November 26th. And did you do all the rate card stuff?
I gotta go and I didn't finish it, but I will get it to Victor very soon. And I hope I'll get it to you
Because as
today.
soon as you can finish the rate card and as soon as the catalog is done, we can start selling it.
It's okay. Let's shrink that personals down. I mean, we just can't, I kind of explained that to you the other day, that if that's $490 worth of space,
Yeah, because
we
kind of
get
that person.
$500-600 a month.
Yeah.
It's just too big. I mean,
I think for the launch, it's good.
I think it's very good.
Just gonna get people's
I think that's
attention.
very good.
If anything, maybe a way to shrink it would be next week or this week, or I don't know if you have time to do it this week, but shrink it and then put a half-page house ad in it, hyping it.
Okay. So for me, I'm still training Paula. She's going to be in today, our bookkeeper. She's going through all our payables and getting that all in order. Things will never be the same here as far as money goes. She's a bookkeeper. Every dime has to be accounted for, and every check has to be perfect, and blah, blah, blah. So I think she's going to be good for us in that way. Gonna mail the bills out today. It's collect money. So, Eric and I finished up the budgets last night. We still have to go, we went all the way through 2005. We still have to go back and figure out the bottom half of that, which is all of our loans and debt payment and all this kind of stuff. Which is, right, which is going to take a little more research. I don't know if you want to do that today.
Yeah, I think we want to try and get it done this morning.
Great to have a bottom line to bring Hal through. I've got a big week. I'm going to see Hal this afternoon at 3 or 3:15. I'm going to call Martin this morning, find out about this stock split that we've been talking about, if and how we're going to be able to do that. I wrote letters yesterday to the stockholders. I didn't get all of them done. I'm going to get the rest of them done tonight. Explaining what's going on. I am writing a cover story this week, which actually is going to be pretty easy because it's something I'm really familiar with and I've done a lot of research on already.
What is it?
Money in politics, the influence of money in politics in Montana, campaign finance reform. I think that's the main issue. We have been. We are starting this week with this series. It's going to run for 4 weeks, and I assigned a story to Connie Potan, who's written quite a bit for the Washington Post and cover story for National Geographic last year. She's a good freelancer. She's already very familiar with Montana politics. She's psyched about the story. Her story will be running next week on Burns. Margaret's doing I-118. Joel's doing Cy Jameson, and also doing all these various tax initiatives that are in the ballot this year. That's kind of aside from the campaign finance reform issue, but it's still a money and politics issue in a different way, so we're going to include it. So I've been kind of coordinating all the election coverage we'll do for the next 3 weeks, and we're going to have a bunch of really good stuff. It's going to be a lot different than what they do across the street. And there's going to be a lot of editing to do this week. Kristen and I are leaving Thursday morning for Spokane, for San Jose. There are going to be a lot of alternative newspaper business people. I mean, obviously, all the top publishers in the Western Association are going to be there. And I think that I can get feedback. I mean, these guys look at this stuff every day of their lives, or at least, once a week for their managers' meetings. I'll be able to flash this underneath their eye and their nose and let them comment on it, first of all. And then we know that several of them are interested in participating in small, growing weeklies like ours. And our weekly, our paper, for some reason, is really kind of the, I mean, they called me up last week to get me to participate in a panel. I'm going to actually sit on there's only 4 panels in the whole, or 3 panels in the whole editorial, stream, they call it. And I'm one of the 4 panelists on one of those. And part of it is, I think, that just these people are really interested in what we're doing up here. We've got the whole Montana mystique, and we're in the smallest market in the country. And then they like our paper. When they see our paper, they're surprised at how good it is. They like it. So I am going to be, whatever, networking out there. I'm also going to be, headhunting a little bit. When I was at the San Francisco conference last month, there were reporters there who were very interested in hearing what we were doing. And the best one, or the one that I had the most rapport with, who seemed like the smartest one, the most interesting one to me, hit me up for a job. He wants to come to Montana and go to work for us. So it's pretty easy to do headhunting in a situation like that when people are actually coming to me. And I have a feeling that that's, I don't want to say likely, but it's very possible that something like that will be happening.
You do a story, and it goes out, and you hear nothing. You write it, and you don't know if people read it, and you don't know if they use it to line their bird cages or wrap fish or what, but you never know. And so that, I guess, has been the hardest thing for me to get used to, because I always thought you would hear something, and you hear nothing often, and you just get used to that, but it's always, you always hope. I really like this because it, I think that it allows to provide the careful reporter to provide more context for an issue. And what really rankles me is the Independent has I wouldn't say agenda. We do come from the left, and I make no apologies about that. But people say we're not as we're much more one-sided than the Missoulian. And there have been a couple stories that the Missoulian covered. They went to a meeting. I went to the same meeting, came out with basically the same notes, but I had an extra day to make a couple more calls and was able to give a little more dimension to, as opposed to saying, this is what happened at the meeting. I was able to say, this is what happened at the meeting, and this is people's reaction to it, and these are the potential results of it. So that's why I like the laxer deadline, I guess.
It's good. It's all lined up on that line.
Cutting about 1/1000th of an inch on here.
Yeah. I'm trying to make a little perfect line around it.
Your readers will notice.
Definitely, subliminally.
I have the luxury of doing everything. So my title is the general manager, and I'm a part owner. My duties are pretty varied and extensive. So I do a little bit of the fun stuff. I do a weekly column. I'm the Man on the Street column, which is pretty good work because I get to see the results of that. I help in the production department doing paste up and layout a little bit. I help in the advertising, scheduling meetings, organizing campaigns, help draft proposals. So basically I oversee every department in some aspect. I attend editorial meetings and features meetings. Sometimes I write feature stories. Rarely I'll write a news story. Mostly I do it just so that I can throw my weight around, basically, so I have my input on what the copy in the paper is going to be. We're in a very peculiar business because although I think the things that drive us here are not necessarily business-oriented. Obviously, we have to succeed as a business in order to succeed as a project. And I think, we have a lot of this social relevance kind of mandate that what we're doing with our lives is something that we feel is very important. And we feel like we are actively involved in this, hippie-trippy notion of improving the quality of life in Missoula. I'm really proud when I hear people speaking with guests and visitors and relatives that are in town And in addition to talking about the Rattlesnake Wilderness area being very close to town, and the University of Montana having a good football team and a professional drama, repertory theater, that they mention the fact that Missoula has an alternative weekly. It's become something that kind of helps define Missoula, and that's something that I'm really interested in. We are fundamentally a community newspaper, and the community of Missoula is, quite frankly, a lot different than the community of Darby or Butte or Billings or Great Falls. And so we think that our readers are interested in the arts. Our readers are interested in critical looks at local politics, local businesses, national issues, environmental stories. Those are things that we are pretty confident that are the things our readers want to know. So I don't think we've changed very much in our direction. Our 4 original parts of the paper that we started with in February '91 were community news, environmental news, outdoor recreation or recreation, and kind of arts, leisure, critical view of music, movies, books, those kinds of things. And those are still the same 4 sections of the paper now.
So tell us about that toxic waste you've been dumping up behind the store here.
Well, I was hoping you'd ask that because you'd never guess that Mike Wallace just walked out of our office a minute ago, and I'm sorry, but you're gonna unless if you can get the production done on this quickly, you'll probably scoop him on it. But yes, we're coming clean. Yeah.
Do you use soy-based ink in your press?
No, we don't. We do use recycled newsprint, but it is at this point, soy-based ink isn't really available in Montana on a competitive level.
I see.
We do encourage all of our employees to drink brown bottled beer, just because green bottled beer is hard to recycle in Missoula.
That's a major consideration.
That's a major consideration.
But with the nature of the news that this paper covers, I wind up doing a lot of office shots. Jill, I could have followed around when she does her work reporting more than I did. I did it once, and I wish I could do it again, but I can't. And what I found was less personality in the one situation that I had. Less personality than this situation which was in her office when she was comfortable being interviewed, and not when I was overlapping my work with her work. And I kind of knew what she was going through because I've done it several times myself. Okay, here comes the light.
Hey.
She's awfully dark.
Oh, so just a little test chip.
Yeah.
Right.
One stop down.
Did you enjoy taking pictures of her? Was it fun or was it?
Yeah, I mean, it's always fun. I mean, what's nice about my job is that I can sit in on interviews with Jill Valley and playwrights and Dan Kemmis and last week Pat Williams, and it's really nice. I guess a lot of it has to do with the fact that I don't have to write the story. When I have a problem with editing, I just get other people to help me, but a lot of the time, since we're so low budget, I don't even make contact sheets. Like in this case, I didn't. She's still dark. Okay. Ooh. Her face is very little light right now, but her dress is pretty good.
Should like cheekbones.
I think, I give myself grades every week, and if I do a C+ job, which is an okay job, it's not a great job, I think what I do is I fill out enough pages to keep people turning. I don't like to see more than 3 pages go by without a photo. And whether I take them or somebody else takes them, it doesn't really matter to me. I just want the photos in, and that's where I consider the editing part of my job comes in.
Charlie, are you done?
Yes.
Take a look. So should we this thing.
Yeah. It's your job.
To gather the people in the back room.
Okay.
Thanks for
More than I do. Flyers, an app to boost.
Oh God, 1, 2, 3,
For seeking bands. And for
4,
and also
5,
just talk to
6.
and they want to do that comp. And I think I can talk the stream.
And then I'm not sure what your team is talking about.
Meetings.
Oh, meetings.
6 meetings a week.
Regular meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no.
That's scheduled meetings. That doesn't count, you know,
25.
somebody needs another meeting, and that doesn't count, any of the other stuff. That's just
thing that I know that
scheduled staff meetings that I've got to go to. Nobody else has to go to 6.
you know, and I don't think there's anybody around.
Doesn't seem fair to me.
It's not fair, God damn
You're
it.
all fans of me.
Star.
Oh, that's great.
Nice subhead too.
Oh, that's great.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear John. Happy birthday to you. Thank you. Cushman was young forever.
I can put 30 candles.
No, I think Eric Johnson just took this, didn't want to get up.
Well, that's okay. I mean, we have it's all tiled up too.
Oh, really?
I don't want to limit it to, you know, this was last year.
Right.
I mean, in a way, that's what the difference is in most of the people that have issues with traffic. So I don't want to be country guys.
What was called musicians?
Projects.
Hi, Sharon. Hi, this is John. How are you doing? Yeah, did I wake you up? Okay. Well, I was just calling to see if I could get your hours from Friday. Sure. All right. Okay. I'll talk to you in a little bit. Bye. Just gonna call back. Oh. She's in bed. So. No, I started out just kind of delivering papers here, and the guy that was the circulation manager before me went to Taiwan, so I kind of just took over his reign. And before we had telemarketers, we had a whole crew of telemarketers trying to get people to subscribe to the paper, and we went to free. We got rid of the whole telemarketing staff, and then we had to switch everything and just give the paper away at every market, every venue in Missoula and Whitefish and through the Bitterroot Valley. So basically, we went from being paid and bringing in money through circulation to just solely bringing in money through advertising. So I was no longer collecting bills or sending bills. I was now just looking for places to give the paper away. Well, we distributed about, I'd say 5,000, and now we distribute about 13 to 15,000 every week. So it's basically tripled in circulation. So we all went out and found places to give the paper away. We have people that work in the Flathead Valley and the Bitterroot Valley, and we had a team. We had 3 different teams go around the Missoula area and just look, ask people to be vendors for the paper. Say we're giving it away at a 3-month promotion, and people have been really good about it. So it's been really easy, actually. It's been a smooth transition.
So calendar boy, they tell me there's some controversy around the calendar this week. What is it?
There is. Well, I guess I don't have a copy of the issue, but of all the stories I've written for the Independent and things I've done for the Independent, this has provoked perhaps the most reaction. A calendar entry that was about this long. I wrote an entry saying it was for the Take Back the Night Week, and there was a reading of poetry and prose by women at the Crystal. And my entry read something to the effect of, fellas, get back to your half-finished beer, your swimsuit issue, and the drag races you're undoubtedly watching on ESPN2. Women, or I think I used the word ladies, or Michael changed it to ladies, I think. There's a reading poetry and prose at the Crystal at 1:30 on Sunday. Go and participate or just listen. And that produced a maelstrom of controversy.
Females.
Yes, I guess so, yes. It's that I was perpetuating it. I guess the gist was that I was perpetuating a stereotype saying that men were only capable of reading swimsuit issues and watching sports and not interested in women's events.
Well, has this in any way dampened your enthusiasm for the calendar?
I guess it's made me a little more careful about what I write. I guess the whole point of the calendar when I do it is kind of this playful cynicism, and I guess I'll have to be a little more wary of who I take on. But I certainly was surprised because I thought it was a pretty harmless thing. And I'm the third in a line of calendar boys. Actually, I think I'm just the second. There was the first one, and then the second one was a interim, and now it's me. There's a guy named Greg Jones. May he rest in peace. He's not dead, but he's here anymore.
Dan Morrison started Calendar Boy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, an old friend of mine. He did it for about 3 months.
Oh, okay. I guess I'm the third in the line. And that's the lineage, Dan Morrison and Greg Jones. And the whole point of it was Calendar Boy was this kind of goofy, stupid guy. So that's what I do. I write these things from, and it's really fun. It's just a forum to kind of make bad puns and try to be clever and stuff like that. But it takes a little more time than I thought it would, so that can be kind of problematic sometimes.
Let's put it in your pockets of your coat, too.
Yeah, fun. I love that stuff.
This stuff is such a pain.
Where else you want to put it?
I put it in
Did you
your
put it in
vest
your drawer?
drawers.
Oh, you got it.
Got that one.
Maybe
Is there anything else? How about her?
Your birthday's next.
Oh, is this her birthday?
This is Kristen's birthday today.
Yep.
Oh, no.
John's yesterday, Kristen's today.
Just give it to her.
There you go.
I thought this was something you did every day for her.
Yeah, everyone gets turned.
Yeah! Reese, how you doing?
Hey, Kristen. Do you have that Kinko's card? Yes. Oh, shit. Did you do that? I helped. Who did that? I held it back.
What's going on, Kristen?
It's my birthday today.
Is it?
John and I have matching birthdays almost. And my tickets to San Francisco this weekend?
Right.
All set. You don't need a Kinko's card. I was definitely looking for it. That's pretty funny.
I'm just doing a rough sketch. This is what the covers might look like this week. Not like this, though.
Is that a snowman?
That's actually the little guy from Monopoly. He's from the Monopoly game, because the cover story is about money and politics. Something like that, and then we could put a headline up in here. And it could be all done up in like gold to black duotone, and then have like a gray screen behind it with like a big explosion burst.
We need the state of Montana somewhere.
State of Montana.
Yeah, and if there's a way to
Open the drawer.
get the drawer open so the ballot's sticking out of it.
Huh.
If there's a way to do it.
Okay.
I didn't say
There's a possibility.
You can put
All
the
right.
state of Montana right there on that little label.
Oh, where this little cat is?
Yeah,
That would be cool.
if you can do it.
Yeah, we'll do that.
People in this town aren't really used to news weeklies. I mean, we're the first one. This town isn't used to the idea of a weekly paper. So that's the first obstacle, is to kind of let them know the whole picture as far as how much we're spending with the daily and how much they're spending with the weekly, and dollar for dollar, it's the better buy. And when you tell clients what you're doing, that we're supporting local politics and environmental issues and city council meetings and stuff like that, they don't realize that because they don't read it. And so if you educate them on it, then they start then they'll start the next time picking up the paper and reading it, and then they'll start to like the paper, and it's kind of a long process. And in that process, you as an ad rep are making friends with these people, and friends, and not just business people, but there's, you know, a relationship developing, which is how you kind of they kind of trust you, and then just kind of goes from there. It's kind of an overflow of.
And you support them too. It's like a lot of our advertisers, we shop at their businesses or we buy from them, or it goes back and forth.
Yeah. We have, you know, a few clients. It's happened, I guess, twice in the past year. And one in particular runs a couple inserts in our paper every year. And every time they run an insert, we get a lot of phone calls, and we get a lot of letters to the editor, and they call us and they want to know, and my advertisers want to know why we allow such things, or, you know, or I feel that, you know, running an advertisement for somebody like that, even though we might in our editorial space disagree with the things that they're doing, if they want to try to educate or kind of justify what they've done and what they're trying to do to reverse their actions, and they're offering to pay a big chunk of money, Independent is a small business, and we can't really afford to turn the money down, A, and B, there's nothing wrong with trying to get the message out, trying to educate people. The inserts are run in the Missoulian as well as in the Independent, and but people point fingers at us and call us, you know, hypocritical for what we did, and basically it's a free world, and it's free expression, and so that's kind of what it boils down to.
If they want to put that in there, they have that right. You know, we can and will turn down certain things, but it didn't fall, you know, against any moral issue that they were doing something, you know,
Right.
against human beings. It was.
Good afternoon, Independent. On a weekly basis, I look through all the different papers around town, and I go to bulletin boards, and I track down people that I think are viable candidates for placing classified ads. I do that, and then I also, once I get all the classified ads for a given week, then I organize them together, put them into the computer, arrange them, and then hand them over to our advertisement coordinator. The Independent is this local private paper that just started up in a few years, and it kind of hones in on the stories and the arts and entertainment. It's not really a classified paper, but I think the editors and publishers hired me so that I would change that notion. I'm not sure that, you know, people necessarily find the people they're looking for. I think a lot of times people put advertisements for the perfect person in the paper, but that perfect person is not really the kind of person they'd actually like to meet, I think. So, you know, whether or not these people are finding the loves of their lives, that I don't know. But I do think they work in terms of bringing in responses from the public.
The people basically.
Yeah. And I don't know, I got enough out of his interview that if I don't touch base with those people, I should be okay.
All we need is like 2 minutes with each of them. I can probably grab 1 or 2 of them.
Well, I messages into everybody.
I know.
Yeah.
Let's just try to get them. It'd be just great to have this little, because that would just make an important, I think, an important point in the story, which is that that this issue can be kind of a watershed where people with various political agendas can come together around this one issue. So if we talk to them all and they say, if they just say, yeah, that's right, we have this problem or that problem or that problem, even if they don't get very specific with us, if they'll just confirm that much of it, then we can say that, which is an important point to bring in.
Okay, well, I'll keep trying.
All right. Okay. I'll be back in a minute. When I first came to this town, I was surprised there wasn't a weekly. And I felt like, when I came here, that this was a remarkable place, that there was a lot of interesting, there was something interesting about this place that made it really unique. But in my own opinion, when I picked up the Daily, I didn't really see that. It didn't seem to get that across at all. Or not very much anyway. So I think that on a certain level that's kind of, I don't know if that's philosophically or, you know, that's one of the things that we try to do is really give a feeling for each week about Missoula and about this area. I think all newspapers are biased, and I think they should be. I don't believe in objectivity, just on a philosophical, in a philosophical sense. I think that the idea of the word is absurd. You know, we use professional journalistic judgment in our reporting, and that's not objective. It's a professional judgment. When they reported on Joe McCarthy, they didn't pretend to be objective. I mean, you go back and look at those reports that those guys did on Joe McCarthy. They went after him because they knew that the guy was hurting the country. If they hadn't done that, worse things would have happened. That's the tradition of journalism that we work in.
I really liked working at independent newspaper because we can take a different angle on stories, and there's a lot of freedom. We're basically turned loose to cover what we want, and we're allowed to sort of interpret our own beat, what we think is important on our own beat, and that's a freedom I didn't have at other newspapers. And I greatly appreciate it here. See, I like to bring out a perspective that they're not typically getting elsewhere. And I feel our niche is to do that and to do things more in depth and to raise more questions, and an area I'd like to really get into. I'd like to get into more finding out what some other communities have done with some of the same problems that we have, that there might be some solutions out there.
We've always had a pretty egalitarian crew, you know. I mean, it's a small paper, and at any given time you might be asked to either come up with the idea for the editorial, write it, edit it. You know, I mean, it's usually Eric Johnson who writes it, but anything can happen. You know, and any idea is listened to, and you know, if there's a story idea, or I guess we're having just broader meetings now where everybody can play a part. Also, I think just people in the community feel like they have a voice, you know. In a way, we are the community's paper, and that's what we want to be.